Welcome to pre-surf. These sessions are designed to get you ready for getting on the water, whether that's the exercise you do immediately before you get in the water or what you do the morning when you're going surfing later on in the day. But relatively easy exercises that will just get your body awake, activated and limber in all the right places. So this session's relatively easy. If you find it boring, just move up to some of the more advanced pre-surf workouts. So this one, we're just going to start with some shoulder circles. So we're keeping the body nice and still, the arm nice and straight, and we're just going to throw the arm through 3 or 4 backward circles on one side, and then 3 or 4 backward circles on the other side. And with all of these exercises, we're just going to kind of keep going for about a minute on each drill. So you're not spending too long on any one thing. Hopefully there's waves pumping, so we don't want to be too long. So now we're going to do forward circles. Again, keep the arm nice and straight. Reach out the fingertips as far as you can, but don't swing the body around. Switch over to the other side. Forward arm circle. Wonderful. 3 or 4 of those. And then just a couple at the same time. So both arms going through forward circle 3 times. And then let's do the same thing backwards. So reaching right up. Stretching those arms right out, opening the whole shoulders and spine region. 1 more of them. Wonderful. Hands down. Okay, so plant your feet. Make sure you're basically parallel along your insteps, and then from there we're just going to have a little look behind. So I'm going to turn my body, look right behind me, swing back round and do the same thing in the other direction. And I'm just going to let the arms flow with it, and I'm just going to make it a nice smooth movement going from side to side, trying to spot the target behind me each time. And just keep that moving. And we can pick up a little bit of speed to add a bit more stretch to the end of the movement, but keep it nice and smooth. Think about spiraling without shifting side to side. 3 more turns before we all get dizzy. Last one. And back to the middle. Lovely. Okay, so what we're going to do now is put hands behind head, and we're going to try and move the upper back. So basically we want to sort of keep our legs and our pelvis exactly where it is. Our lower back's going to stay in the position that it starts from. Hands behind neck, and then from there I'm going to think about just rounding my upper back as far as I can down to stretch everything in the top half of the spine, emptying the shoulder blades. Think about putting fat folds into your belly as you make this movement. I don't want to leak into a forward bend of the whole spine. It's just the top half. Stay down there for a few breaths. And then we're going to come up and do the opposite. So that's elbows apart, neck supported by hands, but looking up towards the ceiling and reaching out the chest. Hold that position for a couple of seconds, and then come back into the position we started from again. So elbows together, chin down. We can enhance this by exhaling and by looking down, and we can improve this by breathing in and looking up. So wherever our eyes go, our body will try to follow. So 2 more of them. Right down, right up. Air in when you're at the top, air out when you're at the bottom. Wonderful. Okay, so now we're going to do that same movement but with our arms out to the side. So we tend to think a lot about muscles and bones and not nearly enough about nerves. As your arms kind of tire, it's as neural a thing as it is a muscular thing. So we want to keep the nerves of the arms working nicely. So arms are out to the side like this, and we're going to go into a position of palms up, fingertips back, shoulder blades down, and then actively I'm going to make my head and upper back go through the exact same movement that we went through in that mid-back opener. So I'm sticking my chest up and looking up, and then I'm curling my chest down and looking down, all while maintaining arms out to the side, shoulders twisted into external rotation, fingertips spread, wrists extended, feeling that neural tug down the front part of the arm through the crease of the elbow. 2 more of them. Right down, right up. If you don't feel much stretch, just think about unshrugging your shoulders as much as you can. 1 more repetition. Brilliant. Now we're going to do the same thing with the arms the other way. So we're going to put all the fingertips together, we're going to flex the wrists, and we're going to turn the arms right round like this. Now the big temptation here again is to shrug, so I've got to unshrug the shoulders, keep those that neck nice and long, and then run through that same pattern again. Chin down towards the floor, back staying upright in the lower half, bending in the top half, and then reaching the chest right out the other way. And as we go through this movement, we are just mobilizing and freeing all the nerves that run through the meat and gristle of the body. And the freer they run, the more they conduct, and the better they conduct, the stronger you feel and the longer you take to tire. So a really great thing to do right before you get in the water, particularly if noodle arms are your main reason for getting out. Okay, so now we're moving on to the lower body, and we're going to go for a bit of a gorilla hang. So just let your knees unlock very slightly, feet slightly wider than hips. So from there, we're just going to bend down and just let the body sag down into this position. We don't want to be squatting, and we don't want to be bending on straight legs. We're just somewhere in between the two. Now from there, you're basically going to just walk both hands around to the outside of one foot. And if you don't want to bounce, you don't have to bounce, but if you're comfy with it, we want to just gently pulse through this stretch around the arc towards the other foot, and just gently easing out the tightness of the lower backs, butt and hips, and also giving the backs of the legs a nice good stretch out. Once more over to the other side, and if you just want to stop and hold, you can do that. If you just want to be down and smoothly skim around from one side to the other, that's fine as well. But a bit of a bounce shows you've got confidence and that you're not kind of guarding that lower back area, which you'll never be able to do in the water. So make sure it's nice and warm before you go. Okay, so then we want to think about our rotation as well. So we're just going to go hand touching the floor right in front of us as we go down into a squat with like a 90-degree rotation like this. So we're just going to go one way and back up, and then we're going to go the other way and back up. Now most surfers find this way easier one way than the other for obvious reasons, but we want to kind of get the body loose, moving in both directions. So we're just going to pick up a little bit of momentum and think about swinging the free arm back behind us, so it becomes more this to this. And just watch what your feet do. A lot of people will find themselves slowly turning more into kind of feet out to the side. Try and stay relatively parallel, and look after the foot you're turning over. Toes staying forward means it's more of a stretch in the hip. The more I let the leg leak to the side, the more I cheat the hip. So don't let your feet turn out too much. 3 more times. 2, and 3. Okay. Oh, that got me breathing. Right, so now we're just going to kind of really cement that hip mobility with our hip squat. So bending the knees enough that there's no limit from the hamstrings, and just hang right down. This time we're really looking for contact between our belly and our thigh bones. And we're going to try and take that over one leg. So we're literally trying to rest ribs and chest onto thigh and knee, and just be over one side for a few seconds. And then we're going to go over the other side for a few seconds, and just check that those hips go right down into closure. Whatever your build, it should just be your tissue touching your tissue that stops you from going further into that movement. We don't want any openness through here. That will always limit our ability to get low on a surfboard. Okay, so now we're going to go down, and we're just going to get some muscles working a little bit. So we're in this high plank press up position, and our easy version here is to just bring our elbow to knee like this, and we think about trying to keep everything still apart from the leg that's moving. So do that 3 times on either side. Now if that's enough, just keep tapping out them for me. If that's relatively easy, you're going to go knee to opposite elbow, and that will just take a bit more of a cinch to get there. You might not make it all the way, but as far as you can.
keeping the arms extended, nice straight elbows, and the knee comes to the elbow and the head doesn't shift around too much. 2 more of them on either side. 1, 2. Last one. Wonderful. And then from there, we're just going to ease ourselves down onto the ground and give a back and front of hips a nice stretch out into this kind of cobra position here. So you're going to relax your belly, adjust your arms a little so that all of your legs are down on the floor, the front of your hips can relax and your shoulders aren't shoved up into your ears. So spreading hands to get to the position where you can be genuinely comfortable with the movement. So from there you're going to go down to the floor, and with your hands in that right position for you, you're going to push up, lock the elbows, unshrug the shoulders, and then look right round over one shoulder and then right round over the other shoulder. So turning head one way and then the other, keeping the back up into extension, keeping the front of the body nice and relaxed, taking care to exhale and let all the tension go from your guts as you go through this movement here. Okay, so then we're going to go down onto the floor and we're just going to get our front of our shoulder stretched out and the back of our shoulder woken up. And the way we're going to do that is just basically lie, put one hand up to rest your head on, and the other hand's going to draw a big rainbow in the air. So reach your hand up like this, and then from there I'm going to come up, around, and all the way back down to my side again. And then I'm going to do the same back again. And we'll go for 3 full rotations on either side. So that's 1. So it's up. Try not to twist your body. Keep your chest straight down to the floor so that all of this movement is coming from your shoulder. And we're opening up all the pecs and the front of the shoulder, and we're waking up all the muscles on the back that we're going to need later on for paddling. 1 more time. Up. Reach around. Keep that chest square. Keep the midline of your body completely still on the floor as you do this. That way you know you're not cheating. On to the other side now. Reach the arm right up. Elbow nice and straight. Hand off the floor. The biggest arc that your straight arm can draw without twisting the center of your body away from the floor. Reaching right up high on both efforts, up and down. So that's 1. And 2. And coming back from the hip to the overhead position. And 1 last time. And down. Brilliant. Okay, so we can come up off the floor. Going to sit back onto our heels and just give our lower backs, hips and shoulders all a good stretch out at the same time. And in terms of movements to do on the beach before you get on the water, this is a really nice one to think about, that we can stretch out the hips like this, and then we can also stick a few shoulder activations, active stretches on the end of that movement like this. So do a few of those. And then the last thing we're going to do is just get our head in the game and just go through your pop-up on the floor a couple of times to get your motor patterns running and your head in the right space. I hope you go out and find some beautiful waves and have a lovely, lovely time. Enjoy, and I'll see you next time.